Hi everyone, my name's Annalise, and this is my Gender Inequality Amongst Children and Adults in the Workplace presentation. Okay, so a little bit about me. So, like I said, my name's Annalise, and I am in my final semester here at ASU. I also am a SCAP student. I work at Starbucks. I am the middle child out of two other siblings. I have an older brother and a little sister, and we are children to our parents who have been married for 25 years now. I also live in San Diego with my boyfriend and our dog Oki. That is us in the picture. So, a little bit of personal background information. So, as a young Black girl, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a middle class society with both of my parents working, married, and we had two dogs, then three growing up. My parents did an amazing job shielding us from any kind of abuse, drugs, and like sexual predators, stuff like that growing up. I grew up in a violence free home, so I was never abused in any kind of way, and my parents did the best that they could to spoil us and give us things that we asked for and needed. Growing up, however, yes, I am a girl, but I grew up very tomboy. So I liked things that the boys liked. I liked Legos. I liked riding skateboards. I liked going outside, getting my hands dirty, looking for bugs, stuff like that. So I typically like things that were labeled for boys in terms of like gender labels. But my parents allowed me to do all those things. So they never hindered me from being able to um, play with the things that the boys played with. But I also played with girly things like baby dolls and stuff like that. But I definitely geared more towards the things that were meant for boys. So, gender. I feel like before we dive into gender inequality and what it looks like, I feel it's important to start with gender and how it's described. So, gender is described as the social realization of a biological sex, and sex is an individual's category, so male or female, based off of their anatomy and physiology. So, gender can be broken down in two parts: gender identity and gender expression. So, gender identity refers to the internal identity of a person, which develops through their interactions with others, mainly their family members. So, how they're raised, how they're treated, based off them being male or female. Gender expression refers to an individual's outward expression and behavior related to how a boy/girl should express themselves. Perspectives on gender. So in the US, there is still a slight preference for boys, especially among fathers, like when the partner becomes pregnant. In Asian and even Indian cultures, a boy is preferred over a girl because the parents believe that the son will carry on the lineage, provide economic stability, whilst the daughter they feel will not be able to do these things. And this just kind of sparks the beginning roles and duties assumed by society for boys. So masculinity, men are and were and are expected to be self-confident, bold, independent, intelligent, and even aggressive. So they're discouraged from expressing sensitive emotions. And I feel like in today's society, we can see a lot of examples of that. Parents not wanting their little boys to be soft, they want them to be tough, like tough it out. Um, let's see. And so roles for men include like as far as jobs include dirty jobs such as plumbing, construction, welding, or any kind of outdoor job, government slash business office jobs. You can kind of see this in society, like if you take a step back and look at places that you kind of go all day, or even just driving, when you see a construction site, you mainly see men. I hardly ever see women. If I do, it's maybe one, maybe two, but majority of it's men. Plumbers, when you call for a plumber, you don't usually see a expect a female plumber to come to your door. So that's just something society has kind of placed in hand. Femininity. So women are expected to be polite, accommodating, dependent, emotional, and nurturing. So a woman's role is including taking care of the children and the home. So women are seen less than equal to men, and whose place is to be at home, caring for children, taking care of the house, grocery shopping, things like that. It's argued that because men have more influence over social roles, that they set gender standards to serve their own interests. So the pictures I chose are very, especially the one with the mom and the baby. We see that a lot. But actually, given that it's 2025, there are a lot of stay at home dads and moms that are working. So we could see how this femininity has kind of taken over, but there's been a switch in the roles. What does sex and gender mean for of a child? So, one way that adults in society socialize gender is by fashion. So, dressing boys like little boys, dressing girls like little girls. A good example to the picture on the right is little boys are associated with blue and little girls are associated with pink. So I feel the parenting style differs between male and female children. Toys are something that is socialized, so girl toys, boy toys, and kind of keeping those separate. Most parents will encourage their little girls to play with toys that involve like nurturing, caring. So this would be like baby dolls, Barbies, kitchen toys, the little toy brooms and mops and stuff like that. Whereas boys are, encouraged to play with more impersonal toys such as trucks, blocks, pretend power tools, fake weapons, cars, stuff like that. This is just a video from our lecture, actually. We don't have to play that. So, gender expression uh, in children. So, culture, the media, and society heavily impact and influence the way boys and girls are expected to express themselves. So, because nurturing, gentleness, and caring are in a woman's biology, like a lot of people expect women to be nurturing and gentle and calm and have that natural ability to care for children and others. They start this at an early age of 2 to 3 years old. 2 to 3 years old. So little girls are expected to demonstrate these qualities through their clothes, toys, and appearance. So making sure little girls' hair is done, making sure they have a cute little outfit on, and they're playing with their baby dolls and just being calm and sweet, whereas little boys are, let's go outside, let's get in the dirt, let's just be rough. Whereas little girls aren't really encouraged to do that. So, gender socialization at school for children. Children are exposed to two forms of content at school: formal content, so this is including lessons, school instructions, and rules, and then informal, which is teacher expectations and peer pressure and interaction. So, when the child is young, parents will usually send the child to school in less gender typical clothing. I chose these pictures of uniforms, for example. Little boys wear, the tops and shorts, whereas little girls either wear a dress or a skirt. Gender socialization and activities. So kids develop their identities through activities that they participate in and are surrounded by. So, like for girls, it would be playing with Barbies, playing school, or pretending to be the teacher, jump rope, and doing cartwheels, somersaults, playing dress up, things like that. Little boys playing with action figures, watching sports, playing car racing games, Legos. That's a big one because growing up, I loved Legos. I had bins of Legos. So that's just kind of funny that that's geared only for boys. Gender inequality at work. Women with college degrees had more opportunity to pursue new careers. Um, excuse me. So, in the early 70s, adults 25 to 35, there was only 70 women for every 100 men with college degrees. And by 2022, there were 122 women for every 100 men with college degrees. So, you can kind of see that that number striked up so fast. But today there are still many practices that are still gender segregated, such as like truck driving, construction work that I mentioned earlier. Nursing is a heavily female dominated field, and secretarial work. There are so many men dominated jobs, but jobs that are also woman dominated. And you might ask, why is this? Jobs that are mostly dominated by women are similar to the work that women have done for generations. So if you think about teachers, childcare providers, chefs, men weren't ever really doing jobs like that. And these jobs are associated with domestic work for men, such as truck driving, construction, engineering. Even though we've seen changes in mixes with women and men in the different occupations, occupational segregation still continues to exist. Gender inequality at work. This kind of just touches on the male dominated fields and how high that percentage is for them. And also, there is a mix of both genders represented, bartenders, post-secondary teachers. So, like an English teacher could be a man, pharmacists, there's a mix of men and women, and then also female dominated fields, like I said, registered nurses, receptionists, and pre-K and kindergarten teachers. That is true. I am going into the field of education, and there's not a lot of men teaching kindergarten. So that's something to look at. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.